And welcome to our first new moon intention circle for 2023. It feels interesting and amazing in so many different ways, a little bit chaotic maybe, that we're already here, getting so close to the 21st of January, our first new moon of the year, of the calendar year, and particularly because it's a super moon in Aquarius, big change coming. We're going to have a few things to share with you this evening. And so without further extra pieces, let's begin. So here we are this evening, so excited to be in this Aquarius Super New Moon. And Valanne will be explaining to us shortly what that's all about. And before we get started with our new moon information, just letting you know, for those of you that haven't signed up yet, we are running our annual visioning workshop, which is called Enlightening Up 2023. Excited about that. It actually starts, the part one is actually this Saturday on the Aquarius new moon. So that's a really fun and exciting piece. If you can't make the Saturday, we're doing a Tuesday evening on the 24th as well. And if you can't make either of those, that's okay, because we're going to do a similar kind of recorded format for the 21st and the 24th. And then if you just want to join us for part two, which will happen on the equinox new moon in March, which is going to be an extraordinary evening, then we encourage you to join us for that. So I just wanted to put a plug in. If you have any friends or family that you think might be interested, there's the link below, or watch your email, because I'll be sending a few notices out about that. So before we begin the astrology piece, Valanne is going to share a channeled message from a group, soul collective by the name of Zora, that she channels. And I'm going to pass it on to Valanne to share what she's going to share this evening.
Awesome. For anyone who hasn't been here before, I think everyone has, but every circle I ask my guides for a message specific to the group that shows up. So this is directly, it's a direct message for all of you and on the recording. My dear ones, there's a great energetic shift that is occurring for all of you at this time on your planet. What that encourages for each and every one of you is to align to your own unique gifts, to live as closely to what your soul is calling you to as possible, and allow that to be shared in your life with those who honor and recognize your unique light as you are manifesting it. As the greater shifts occur, find your own inner truth and recognize it as your particular path to express the beauty of your uniqueness. Remember that the wholeness of the collective experience is expanded and uplifted by each individual expression that is aligned with this personal truth. From our perspective, that is seen as pure light.
Oh, I love that so much. So just take a moment to feel into that for you. Just a reminder that this will be included in the slide deck that you have access to with your free New Moon Circle membership. We also put it on Instagram. So if you follow us on Instagram, you'll see it tomorrow. And really sit with that and find whatever pieces in it you feel are for you. It'd be a beautiful way to inform your intention setting. And in fact, the intention that we set for this evening, which is in the first person, so it's meant for you to take that on personally as well, comes directly from that message. So the new moon, why do we meet at the new moon? So many circles, especially women's circles, happen at the full moon. And certainly the full moon is also a beautiful time. I'm a moon lover, so I love all the phases of the moon. But the new moon is a special time of potential. And particularly this new moon at the beginning of this calendar year with all the other planetary impacts, remembering that the moon is affected in aspect. She is receptive and she's reflective. So much of what's going on around her is what the new moon brings in terms of the energy that she's offering. This particular new moon calls us to the rebel within us, asking you to fully commit to your own truth as you clarify your direction and step into the highest version of you. Very Aquarian. So perhaps Valanne can share with us some of the fundamental sort of core pieces of this new moon.
So this new moon, the sun and the moon are meeting in the sign of Aquarius. And Aquarius in general, which can be applied to the moon, which is our emotional self, our intuitive self, our feminine self. The qualities that are, skillful or the way that we can express them in the best possible form, the highest version, is about being original, being unique to ourselves, which is sort of all the messages run through this, where the Aquarian may stand away from the pack to be true to their own vision, their ideas, their way of being in the world that is possibly separate, unique, original. And there's a connection to being part of the collective, offering something to humanity. And that piece that came in the channeling about being, I think it was in the channeling. Now I've done so many things in the last couple of days, but being true to ourselves, being in our own light, actually offers what is, offers more to the whole, which is a beautiful way of doing it. And just to be sort of aware of, as you are standing in your own light, you are offering your light to everyone around you. Everyone is uplifted through that. And just you might or might not relate to some of these unskillful qualities. They may come up during this Aquarian time where, kind of get stuck in ideas and there's an inflexibility, a resistance to change. So you might or might not relate to this, but just to know that that's part of the Aquarian energy because of that fixed ideas, which is important to move an idea forward. But sometimes we can get sort of stuck in that or get in our heads and move into the unemotional side of the Aquarian energy. So these are the specifics for looking at the Aquarius moon. And any of you who have taken the my astrology courses or knows your chart, you can look at what house Aquarius is in so that you can actually target your intentions and your thoughts about what you want this new moon to manifest in the actual part of your chart. But for everyone else, doesn't matter. All of this is at play. So the first thing that I think we've mentioned every single time, this is the third new moon at 1 degree, which is the beginning of a sign. Oh, and I can just see I've got to change the slides because that's a Capricorn symbol, not an Aquarius symbol. So we're in the process of stepping into something new, and it's signaled in many, many ways throughout the astrology. New ideas, we're moving into a new future, we're moving into new energy. So, hopefully you're starting to feel a lift from what has been part of the last 2.5 years, the heaviness, the weight. We're actually shifting out of that now. And there's a sense, and I don't know whether you can feel it, but I've been feeling, there's the sense that, okay, we're moving somewhere. So it's a beautiful time to harness this level of initiating energies as ideas flow through to capture that energy of the future, of what you're visioning for yourself, and to really step into the anticipation and the excitement of what's new and what's coming, because that's going to be, it's that place where you follow your excitement because that's part of your soul's path. It's a way of guiding you to what your next thing is that you want to embrace, you want to express, you want to do. And the Aquarius new moon, relating to what we just talked about, is about embracing your own uniqueness. And as we're moving forward, letting go of anything that doesn't support this. And that can be patterns of thought, that can be people who aren't supporting you. It can be old routines that you've set in place. This is the time to step out of what may have felt really comfortable, but may not have been really true to you, or may have been true to you. And now you're moving into this new vision for yourself. So this is all part of this Aquarian new energy. And there's an interesting thing happening right now, which won't make a lot of sense to non-astrology, but just in general, all the planets are going to be moving forward at the same time, which is rather unusual. So it's a time of taking action, setting your sails to capture the energy that is moving us forward. Beautiful time to take care of this. So it's a real initiating energy that we're living in right now. So there's a part of the chart of this new moon that asks us to align our thoughts, our perceptions, our ideas with our actions, and there may be some adjustments needed. And part of that, I even think of coming out of what we've been through and coming out of thinking about something fresh and something new. It's examining what ideas you have, what things that you may have even been set in your mind, but they may not actually be true for you anymore. And this is a time to accept the challenge, to let go of some things and to make those adjustments that don't feel comfortable and don't feel aligned to who you are now. And the planet Mars is involved. So that's about courage. So it's having the courage to even redirect your thoughts, your visions, where you want to move to, and allowing that to support you. And this is where releasing old ideas as you're getting ready to change, it takes courage. It takes energy. But that's provided right now. So this is a great time to feel where things don't feel quite right, don't feel aligned, might feel a little irritating, old ideas aren't quite fitting. This is the time to use this to work so that you can release those old pieces that really aren't ready. They're not moving forward with you. It's the pieces you leave behind to move forward. And really important part of this future vision is committing to what's important to you, what your values are, what you feel serves you in supporting your self-worth, following what's important. And there's a time to just slow down and really take into consideration what you value. Part of that is because what's being set in this, even the next couple of months, but in this new moon, is sustaining. It can last. There's a real sense of committing to something that's long-term. So you want to make sure that you're feeling into, what's important for you to actually, not in the moment, but to continue. It's a beautiful time. And there's a sense of a reality check right now in terms of anything around your values, your worth, your relationships, about financial issues, maybe what you desire. All of those pieces right now are up to be re-examined and to think, what do I really want here? So a beautiful time to slow down and recognize what seeds you're planting, where you actually want to move forward. There's another piece of this new moon that's really empowering. So this is a place we want to set our intentions from. And part of that is in this particular chart, the new moon is actually just past this place of intensity, of healing, of shadow, of depth. We're actually moving past that. So it's great to reflect, to recognize what you've already been through, what changes you've already made. And this may even be when you consider over the last 2.5 years, everyone's grown so much through the challenges. What has that brought you? And to really recognize that we're moving forward from that place, and that place is a place of power, owning our own power. So think about how you've changed and how the next steps, your next vision for yourself can be aligned to that sense of, and this is who I am now, standing in your own power. Beautiful place to set intentions. And also to watch where old beliefs and old thoughts and old ideas need to actually come to the surface, need to come to the light to be released. And this can be done gently, and it can certainly be done in intention to ask that this happen gently, but this is the time. It's allowing things that have remained hidden to come to the surface, to be recognized, to be transformed, to be healed. This is a sense of renewal that happens. Then to boost this all, there's this beautiful feeling of optimism. And it's that feeling of support that we can get from, just owning who we are. And this is a beautiful place. And we can talk about this after, because I know I've started to feel that. And even in my crazy life, there's a piece that's like, yeah, I can grab that. I can feel it. I can sense that I'm being supported to move into something new that I'm not even sure what that is right now. So this is a great time to be in the energy of, what am I initiating? Tapping into that sense of hope and renewal and the new vision for the future. Absolutely beautiful. And the last piece is, and this I relate to that part I was saying about making adjustments around what you're thinking and what your actions are. And there's a really interesting connection to the new moon with other planets, and they are in something called a septile in a particular relationship. You don't have to worry about that. But what that means is we are being offered information that comes from our higher senses, from otherworldly communication, from any way that occurs from the non-rational. So what is great for us right now is to pay attention to what information's coming in, downloads, dreams, insights, awarenesses, whatever that is, and use that as a part to going back to the, how do our thoughts and our actions, where do we need to make adjustments? Allow this information to help to guide you through the places where your perspective needs to change to align to your actions. Find that through this otherworldly communication, however that happens for you. So it's a really beautiful, powerful, and it is a super moon. Moon's closest to the earth, so there's a lot of power in this. There's so much freshness, so much excitement. So it's a beautiful time to capture that energy, to set intentions, and to pause and really think about where you want to go. And that may come through your intuition. Just allow whatever flows through. So the last little piece of this is the Aquarius piece, and the idea that being ourselves offers more to the world. So we've got a few questions. They come from our new moon intention journal. And, how can I best offer my perspective to support others? That's very Aquarius. Let me help others. Let me be part of a collective and share my gifts, my wisdom, my uniqueness. In what ways can I apply my unique vision to a personal situation? So really pay attention to how you do things that are right for you and that may not at all be right for the person next to you, and to really honor that. And what existing ideas can I apply in new, exciting ways? And that's the Aquarian, future forward thinking, looking into new ideas, new ways of doing things. So that's part of the excitement of what's happening right now as our whole world is moving towards this new way of being. And the only thing I didn't say connected to all of that is a part of the Aquarius thing, at least for, how Sasha and I might think about it, is living at a higher vibration, raising our frequency, really paying attention to staying in a higher frequency, in the frequency of gratitude and love. And as much as we can maintain that, all of the other pieces will flow so much easier. So I think that is it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, so for those of you who haven't joined us before, I think you all have, but for those of you who haven't, just in case if you're listening on the recording, we're going to start a journey now. And so please make yourself comfortable. You may like to lie down if that's what you prefer. You may like to stay warm, have a blanket. Feel free to close your eyes if that feels good to you. And we're going to take a little journey, after which we're going to stay in this sort of quiet space of journeying. And we're going to move directly into sharing a time of setting an intention, a group intention. I'll speak the intention out loud. I'll also have it up on the screen for us. And then you can share in that as well. And at that point, I will turn off the recording. And then once we are done our 3 minutes of sitting together in quiet with the intention, then we'll be able to share with one another. So taking a moment to settle in and notice your breath. The breath is always a beautiful tool for us to call upon to connect inside, and particularly appropriate during this Aquarian time. The element of Aquarius is air. And with air, when we are outside, especially those of us that live in North America and especially on the East Coast or here in Ontario, we're experiencing potentially plenty of wind these days in the form of storms. And so referring to the winds of change is certainly appropriate for us. When we are standing and feeling the winds of change around us, it can be easy to feel that we are swept off our feet. And so the first most important thing to do is to feel that sense of connection to Grandmother Earth. So let's take a moment here to connect in, or pay attention to the connection that is always here for us. Allow your root or a kite tether, if you prefer, just like the image that we're looking at, the string on the balloon, allow it to drop down into the center of the earth. Allow yourself to feel that sense of rooting down in order to rise up. You may like the image of a tree to help you. And remember the trees that you've seen so often in your youth and now, those trees that sway and the branches move wildly in the windstorm. Some branches may break, certainly leaves may fall onto the ground, bits and pieces of the tree are loosened. But ultimately, the tree survives. Ultimately, those trees' roots dig down deeper. So give yourself an opportunity to feel into the center of the earth and find that grounding for you. As you do this, moving into the center of the earth, feel that sense of moving into the center of you. We are made of earth stuff. And so as the winds blow on our surface, we too can go within to find our alignment, to find our inner GPS, to find our light, to find our truth. This truth is our heart's knowing. It is our soul's awareness. And we know that over time, our experiences may gather up stories that are not the center of us, but that surround us. They are stories that surround us in the things that we keep in our homes, in the people with whom we have relationships, in the jobs we do, in the tasks we perform. And those are all, in a way, objects or relationships or situations that live outside us. But we have made connections to them, or we have created them because we are connected to them. And for the most part, they are beautiful. They make up the beauty that is in our life. But today we're here to feel into those pieces that are no longer aligned fully with that central truth. Those pieces that are, maybe they were once shiny and now they are dull. Their energy does not glow so much for us. They do not draw us to them, and they are not drawn to us in the same way as they once were. It might be as simple as an object in your space that you no longer love and that is happy to be gifted to someone else. It may be that you even have objects in storage, that you in boxes in your home or in a storage area outside your home, or in someone else's home. Somewhere where you find that there are old things that are calling to you and saying, it's time for us to say goodbye. This may be true of relationships or the way in which you engage in relationships. You may have a way of relating to a parent or a friend or a partner or child or grandchild that has outgrown itself. And you are being called to a new story. This new story resides in your heart. And it is something that author Charles Eisenstein calls the beautiful world our hearts know is possible. This new world comes from your heart's knowing and your soul's truth. And when you align with that, you can step into that new place and allow these pieces, these perspectives, these old worn items that are in your life that no longer align to that new truth, you can allow them to simply be set down, to set them aside. So as you sit in the center of the earth that is the center of you, and you feel the winds of change blowing on your surface, sometimes wildly and chaotically, look at the pieces that are easy to see because they are of a different tone than everything else. They are maybe a little bit grayer. They do not have the sparkle. They are pieces that feel as though they are contracting rather than expanding. You will know them, perhaps only one, and that's okay. You will know it. And when you see it, when you find it, reach out, hold it in your hands, hold it in your heart. Take a moment to be grateful for it, for all of its service, perhaps for years and years. And when you feel complete, simply set it down and walk away. There will be no judgment here, and you do not need to judge yourself. You can provide support in whatever ways that you need in order to have the confidence and the courage to be able to step forward and walk away from this piece, this object, this situation, or this perspective that no longer serves you and that is no longer needed. You can be grateful and then step away. And when you do so, sit in the sensation of freedom that has come to you. Sit in this sensation of freedom as we move on to our group intention. My intention is that I am completely aligned with my own unique gifts and fully supported to joyfully express them with grace and ease in highest health and greatest good for all. Hey, and we're back from our beautiful shared intention setting time. For those of you on the recording, feel free to sit with this intention for whatever period of time when that works for you. When Valanne and I do it with our intention setting group on Monday evenings, we follow the Lynn McTaggart format, which is how we were trained many years ago. And we sit with the intention for 10 minutes. That's quite long for this group in this format, but do feel free if that works for you. And always, of course, using this intention in a way that speaks to you. So if there are things that you want to add and subtract, we're really offering this to you as a foundational piece. And finally, a reminder that we also meet monthly in our Inner Wisdom Circle. Our next guest will be Susie Wong. We're so excited to have her. She's joining us via Zoom, of course, from the United States, and she is a very special practitioner, an energy practitioner. So that will be a very wonderful and special time that is happening in February. Later this month, Tarot Lori will be joining us for the Reflection Circle later in January to do her tarot magic with us. And we're very excited about that. So if you are interested, please do reach out to us. And finally, of course, our Moon Cycle Intention Journal 2023 is still available on Amazon. And I know that many of you already have one. So thank you for jumping on board with that. We're loving it. I use it all the time. I'm never without it. And so that is a great opportunity to stay connected with those new moon and full moon energies. That's it for us this evening. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.